key was a quiet weekday night, the kind where the city felt deserted, and the only sound was the faint hum of streetlights. I often went for late-night walks to clear my head, and that night was no different. My route took me through a quiet stretch of town, past rows of darkened storefronts and empty sidewalks. As I turned the corner onto one particularly desolate street, I saw him. First, it was hard to make out details. He was far down the road, walking in the same direction as me. His movements were strange, almost exaggerated, as if he were floating more than walking. I shook off the feeling, convincing myself it was just a trick of the light or my tired mind playing games. But then he stopped. He turned slowly, his motions deliberate and unnatural, until he was facing me. And that's when I saw it, his smile. It stretched impossibly wide, his lips curling upward in a way that was both playful and menacing. I froze. There was something so wrong about it, so unnatural. I told myself to keep walking. This was probably just some eccentric night owl enjoying their own strange form of amusement. Yet as I moved forward, I noticed he wasn't moving anymore. He just stood there, staring at me, that grin frozen on his face. Trying to calm the growing unease in my chest, I crossed the street. It felt safer to put some distance between us. But as soon as I did, he began to move again. Slowly at first, matching my pace exactly. His walk was rhythmic, almost like a dance. His head tilting side to side as though he were listening to music only he could hear. Picked up my pace, and so did he. The grin never faltered. Suddenly, he broke into a sprint. It wasn't the kind of run you'd see from a normal person. His legs moved too quickly, and his upper body barely seemed to shift. It was as if he were being pulled toward me by some unseen force. Panic surged through me, and I started to run too. I darted around the next corner, hoping to lose him, but when I glanced back, he was there, not far behind. That smile, it burned into my memory, a grotesque mask that seemed to stretch further the closer he got. I don't know how long I ran, but eventually, I reached the edge of a more populated area. The lights of a 24-hour diner flickered in the distance, and I sprinted toward it like my life depended on it. When I finally burst through the door, I glanced back one last time. He was gone. I never saw him again after that night, but even now, years later, I can't shake the memory of his face, his grin, and the way he seemed to know exactly how to terrify me without uttering a single word.